The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The voice of the creative economy.
With Vincent Heeringa.
Vincent Heeringa in the house from Idealogue magazine at Tangible Media. G'day there, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you, mate?
Very good. Here you been skating up and down the driveway?
Have, indeed.
Nice.
Yep. Got a nice big concrete pad put in for the summer, and everyone's getting skateboards for Christmas this year.
Did anyone write their initials into the concrete?
Actually, they did. We did all the classic thing of all the kids put their hands in the concrete, and at about 11 o'clock that night, the cat walked across.
Of course.
There's her prints in there too.
Yeah, I was painting. I was painting like because we've got these French doors just gone in, so I was painting the I don't know, what do you call it, the step, whatever. Who's going to walk across it? Of course, the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're going to do that one again.
Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't the chickens. They were well secured.
Oh, good. Hey, with this today, we're talking about next week. We're going to talk because we're here for one more show next week, and we'll be looking at the year that was 2010. But today, let's look forward to the summer and 5 great ideas for summer.
Well, we got this new issue of Idealogue hot off the press, and it is a fantastic issue. I know I say that every time, but I'm proud of my babies. And what we did for this issue was we said, if there was one thing we could give people over summer, what would it be? And it would be the inspiration to get off the beach and go and invent something, or create something, or start a business, or make a film, or write a book. So we have interviewed about 16 really highly successful creative people, ranging from filmmakers and designers to business people and advertising agency types, to kind of get to the essence of what is it that they do for their creative juices, to get their creative juices flowing. Where do they go? What thoughts do they use to kind of stimulate creative output?
Yeah. And
captured it all in this one big fat feature. So some of the people in it are Dick Frizzell, Karen Walker, Kevin Roberts, Charlotte Grimshaw, Brooke Fraser, David Trubridge, and so on. And it's quite interesting, Wammo, even though they are all different in their own way, there is a unanimity of approaches to stimulating creative thought. I just thought we could summarise a few of those things.
Is there a success formula?
There is a formula, actually. No, there isn't a formula, but there are some commonalities between creative people about things that they do. And the first one is that they are constantly awake and alive. They walk around with their eyes open, and so they're on the lookout for creative input.
They obviously don't do a breakfast show and get up early in the morning.
Well, they do. That's another common feature. Is they work bloody hard. It's often the creative muse seems to come to people in dreams and visions, and that may happen. But then the rest of it is hard work. And so, in addition to kind of being awake and alive and looking for stimulation, do things like walk different ways to work, or make sure you travel and go and see movies that you wouldn't normally see, and talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to. And also, that kind of sweating it out, just hard work. Once you get the idea, what do you do next? And some of them talk about a good idea is a bit like a virus. It just won't go away. It settles in the back of your head and wakes you up in the morning.
And that, of course, is fed by the passion for what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another that is another common feature amongst them all, is that they have limited their scope. So they are not everything. Karen Walker is riffing on a theme. She has done lots of different things, ranging from cosmetics and jewellery and art, but it's still kind of riffing on that Karen Walker-ness.
Yeah. And
the designers, largely speaking, stick to design, and I think that's one of the key aspects, is do what you're good at. Do what you're passionate about, and do what you're good at.
Okay, and so is it number one?
No, that was about 3 things.
That was 3 things. Okay, we've done. Okay, all right. What's 4?
Well, number 4 is is that an idea then never translates into anything until you can form a team around you. So we're not islands, and despite this kind of image of the heroic individual, the Lone Ranger, often these people are the starters, but around them they will have supporters and helpers and skilled people that fill in the gaps. And one of the features I think about all these people is that at some point there is an essential humility to know what your weak points are. So even if you're David Trowbridge and you are busying yourself away in your workshop, what sits around him is a business infrastructure and accounting advisors and legal advisors and export specialists and branding and so on. And while he's still maybe in control of kind of the vision, you've got to have that essential, I suppose, the word is humility.
And that's one of the key elements to leadership, isn't it? To make sure you form that team around you, that of a bunch of people that know more about certain things than you do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the essence of that ability to work with others and form that team. As David Brent from The Office says, there's no I in team, but there is a me if you look hard enough. And the last thing about these people, Wammo, is just downright grit and determination. They have a really strong work ethic, but also a persistence about tackling the right things. And part of that is knowing when to stop as well. So it's not a persistence without judgment. And Kevin Roberts talks about this, about you can pursue things for so long, but knowing when to stop and when to pull out is a really critical part of the creative process. So being brave enough to destroy your idea or park it for the meantime and move on to something else is pretty important part of that judgment process. So pretty inspiring stuff. I'm really pleased with how this has worked out, because what we want people to do this summer is take the magazine to the beach, lie on the beach, and get motivated, get doing stuff. Start
dreaming first, and then get motivated, then start doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, nice one. That's very, very cool. So the latest edition of Idealogue is out now.
It is out now.
And does that cover December, January? Does it?
Yeah, it comes out. We actually call it the January-February issue, just to confuse everybody.
Okay, right.
But,
sure.
Yeah, that'll be out, and the next one's not out till February. So get your copy now.
Cool. Thanks, Vincent. Look forward to chatting next week about 2010 in review.
Thanks, Wammo.
Time now here on Kiwi.